Hi everybody, I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture.com.
And I'm Adam Nicholas from WhatCulture.com.
And with Adam Wilborn today, I'm going to tell you how Luke Harper is already preparing for life after WWE.
We've got the latest on Matt Hardy's WWE contract.
I've got an absolute storm of piss surrounding the Sandman and some rather unwanted criticisms of women's wrestling.
Not so much a storm of piss as it is a storm of a piss pay-per-view, but TLC matches have potentially been revealed.
This is the news.
There it is.
Podcasts. Let's kick things off with a little bit of discussion about Brock Lesnar. Big bloody Brock. Of course, his most recent appearance was defending his WWE Championship against Rey Mysterio at Survivor Series. However, it now looks like that might be the last we see of Big Bad Brock in 2019.
No.
So this comes to us via Cage Side Seats, who are reporting that Brock Lesnar is scheduled to be booked for the Royal Rumble, for the, not presumably defending his belt, not for the match itself. But he isn't expected to appear until, well, basically 2020 now. He's taking the rest of the year off. He's going to go back up to his log cabin in the woods, do some hunting, enjoy a nice Christmas with his wife Sable. Gonna have all kinds of fun, but he won't be wrestling. He probably won't even be watching it on TV if, you know, the narrative about him hating wrestling is true. I don't think it is, by the way. But yeah, no huge surprise here, I guess. TLC's kind of like a C-level pay-per-view, I guess. It can be quite fun, it can be quite enjoyable, but not always the most exciting show of the year. No huge surprises. There's not going to be a WWE Championship match on that. Watch Brock Lesnar show up on Raw now and confirm a match against Rey Mysterio again.
Absolutely. I think this is the most on-brand Brock Lesnar thing you could possibly expect. So nobody can really say they're surprised. And they certainly can't say that he's not consistent, at least. I mean, we did a little podcast, didn't we, where Sidgwick was asking us, did we think he'd be back? And we both said no. And here we are. Of course, he's not going to wrestle, is he? It's Brock Lesnar. He does what he wants.
Christmas.
He does what
Christmas
it's Christmas at Brock's house
with Sable. Let the man have Christmas off. Like, I know a lot of people get salty when Brock takes time off, and it's understandable and so forth. Let the man have Christmas off. Bugger it. It's only TLC. Who cares, right?
Look, if you were that much of a draw, and he is a draw, whether you like to admit it or not,
he's the only one who is.
Brock Lesnar is a draw. If you were that much of a draw, would you throw your weight around a bit? I think you probably would, wouldn't you? And you're Brock Lesnar. You've been doing it for way too long. And you get to spend Christmas with Sable. I mean,
hanging out in the log cabin.
No-brainer for me.
Yeah, shoveling snow and stuff. Just like eating reindeers. He probably eats reindeers, right?
I'm actually saying that. He probably does. He probably does.
Santa Claus shows up with all 20 of the reindeers, however many there is, leaves with 5.
None.
Yeah.
0. No Christmas. Christmas is stuck at Brock Lesnar.
He eats them raw as well. He doesn't even take the feathers off.
Shall we move away from Brock Lesnar's Christmas eating habits and perhaps talk about a wrestler whose eating habits might not be on the table, but his WWE contract details certainly are. Matt Hardy of WWE, you may remember him, one of the Hardy Boys, quite good, isn't he? We've had a little bit of a latest about his contract from PW Insider. They've done a bit of digging and they found out that Matt Hardy's contract is set to expire in February 2020, which basically means not very long, 2 months. And as we're being told, apparently when his contract ends, he should be allowed to go and work wherever he wants, because he may potentially have some sort of non-compete in there, which is interesting given the fact we've seen WWE tie everybody down to these massive contracts where most wrestlers have to wait at least a month, I think it is pretty much, or 3 months maybe.
90 days.
90 days, yeah. It's a long time anyway. Not good for a wrestler. He doesn't necessarily want to leave WWE because it's WWE. It's still the biggest one in the game, despite AEW for the time being anyway. But I think he's a little bit unhappy with how he's being perceived on WWE TV because we haven't really seen too much of him, let's be honest.
Yeah, some good details from PW Insider here. There's, I think that Matt Hardy, I think he's 42 years old. I mean, this is almost certainly the last big contract of his career, right? Yeah. Like, he's beaten up a little bit, he's old, he still has some stock, and he's still popular and all this stuff. But, you know, you get to a certain age and your body gets to a certain point where you're not necessarily going to score the big money deals you might have had in the past. So he's probably looking at things like WWE's inability to capitalize on the broken, woken, whatever character. Of course, we saw little glimpses of it, but it was never quite fully realized as well as it was in Impact Wrestling. He's probably looking at things like that and going, if I secure my future here, if I tie myself down here, am I going to be well used? Am I going to enjoy what could potentially be the last few years of my career as a major league wrestler? Maybe, maybe not. So he's probably looking for some reassurances and so forth. It'll be interesting to see if he sticks around because, you know, Matt Hardy, he's been in and out of the company a lot, obviously, but he's still a WWE guy. Like, when I think of Matt Hardy, primarily, I think WWE. However, you know, Impact Wrestling sure could use something like a Broken Universe at the moment as well, and they would let him do it too.
That's the thing. I think the one thing for Matt Hardy is, as we've seen with him and Brother Jeff, they're both very creative when it comes to wrestling. It's not just about the wrestling, it's about the storytelling, it's about the creative voice that they're allowed to have, and if he doesn't quite get that, and to be fair, he came from relative nothingness, let's be honest, as a singles competitor, sorry, and then finally brought this Broken Universe to Impact and literally took over wrestling for a short period of time. It was massive. And it's a shame it hasn't quite been realised the way he would like in WWE. I'm sure he'll find what he wants elsewhere, potentially.
Let's hope he finds that vehicle, I guess. Broken vehicle. Hopefully not a dilapidated boat.
Of course. Or the More of Lawns.
Oh, of course. I can't forget the More of Lawns. Vanguard. What was Vanguard's name again?
Go on, just throw Vanguard 1.
There we go. There you go. Stuff. Things.
Things.
Speaking of things, Luke Harper. This is a guy who we've talked about all year long because he's always doing something, the cheeky little scamp after trying to get his release earlier this year.
Well, it is Monday, so you know what that means.
You know what that means.
Eh?
That means that Luke Harper has filed a trademark for the term Brody Lee, which, if you aren't aware, was his old ring name before he joined WWE in March 2012. So he's filed this trademark for entertainment services, namely wrestling exhibits and performances by a professional wrestler and entertainer. This is brought to us again by PW Insider Steven Fernandez. So Luke's, by all accounts, like Mr. Harper, is preparing for life after WWE. If he's filing a trademark for his old ring name, that is the conclusion you naturally go to. I believe his current deal expires sometime in mid-2020. He, of course, had it extended due to the 6 months he was out injured with a broken wrist the other year. It's a shame because he would probably be gearing up to walk away right now if it wasn't for that. But he's going to be stuck there a while longer. Either way, Luke Harper's great. We've talked about him a lot this year. I would love to see him just doing fun things wherever he lands, whether it be as Brody Lee or whether it's as Luke Harper in WWE.
He was one of the first, wasn't he, of the guys who put out a statement basically saying he'd asked for his release and talking as if he was going to leave. And then all of a sudden we found out he was one of the first big victims of, no, you got to stay, and actually you owe us about 6 months, so we've tacked that onto your contract.
Screw you, Luke.
Exactly. What I will say is though, fantastic performer, obviously. We saw what a potentially energized Luke Harper can look like again. If you remember in the Worlds Collide tournament, he was fantastic. Thought maybe that was going to be a second dawn, and it hasn't quite worked out that way. The things with Eric Rowan, they're constantly going to put them back. I think Vince just looks and goes, just keep them, these are two big trees, keep them together, they make more trees. That's what he sees in Luke Harper. What I will say is though, it's gone quickly. Like it feels, it might not feel like that for Luke Harper, but certainly he can't have that long left now. What, 6 and a bit, maybe?
Something like that. Like, we're about halfway there, Luke. Just hold on, brother.
Imagine what a guy Luke Harper's size and Luke Harper's ability could do in AEW.
Well, AEW needs some big lads, doesn't it?
Think about how good Jake Hager looks in AEW.
Exactly.
Imagine putting Luke Harper in there as well.
I'm with it, brother. Get him in.
Absolutely. Well, that's one company could go to his AEW. WWE, however, have got a pay-per-view coming up called TLC. That is a bad segue, but we have potentially got some matches that have been revealed for the TLC pay-per-view. This comes from the Wrestling Observer Radio, and of course, our friend, your friend, everyone's favourite friend,
Shagger Dave.
Shagger Dave. Because I know how much you like getting news off Shagger Dave. And essentially, he could have given us some clue as to what the matches are going to be about. So Andy Murray here is going to do his usual spoiler alert with his hand in the air.
I'm going to hold my hand
just up. So you know, because this is, you might want to keep TLC. Yeah, it's not that.
Hand goes down.
Spoilers are coming.
Spoilers over.
You know what's happening. Basically, Dave has said that there are plans for Baron Corbin and Roman Reigns to have a match at TLC with some kind of stipulation. Now, obviously, we've all seen this really, really good stuff that they've been doing that's revolved around dogs, and especially the dog mascot on SmackDown, which was, it was something. It was, something I'll do. Well, perhaps we could be seeing, and I can't believe I'm going to say this in 2019, potentially a dog collar match. Andy Murray, your thoughts on that before I give you the other stipulation?
I'd rather have a kennel from hell, man.
Oh, would you?
Yes.
Would you though?
Yes,
no,
I would.
Would you though?
Yes, I would.
Really?
I want Baron Corbin feeding Roman Reigns a dog in a hotel room.
Okay, I tell you what.
Give me the bollocks.
I'll take that because it's mad and it's probably weirder and better than a dog collar match. The other match that's potentially being booked for TLC is, again, not sure about this one myself, Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair to take on the Kabuki Warriors for the Women's Tag Team Championships. A match that literally just happened last night. Starcade.
Yeah, it was part of a four-way, I think. They've wrestled a lot lately as well on Raw and stuff, haven't they? They've had a few singles matches here and there too. I mean, maybe it'll be a good match.
Why are they insisting in putting Becky in the tag division?
With her best mate, Charlotte Flair.
With her best friend, best friend.
Big Chaz. I don't know, maybe it'll be a good match at least.
Well, I'm sure it'll be a good match, but I think more...
The build will suck because it's WWE main roster, but
Indeed. Well, hopefully, as long as we get a good match out of it, I don't mind. But let me see more Becky Lynch as a singles competitor, please. That's what I want for Christmas.
See that. Hand down, spoilers over, brief run through of some absolute bollocks.
So I can't believe Goldberg's having a match anyway.
I know, mental Goldberg versus Dana Brooke. Who'd have called that? So
for
strange.
Custody of Dave Bautista. Would you believe it?
We've got Twitter brief for you. We got some drama.
Oh, yes.
We got some tea heating up on the stove. Sandman, ECW legend, known, of course, for being extremely woke. We got a tweet here from Jordan Grace, Impact Wrestling star Jordan Grace, who's great value on Twitter, by the way. She tweeted yesterday saying, "Hey, remember that time the Sandman came up to 4 women about a main event to tell us that women main eventing is wrong, and any male wrestler with any sort of experience would agree? Was this in 1998? No, it was tonight, in December 2019. So this presumably came at the, I think it's called the WrestleCade Super Show. Pardon me if I got that wrong, I'm a moron. Where there was a 4-way women's main event. Sue Young was in it, Taya Valkyrie, Jordan Grace, Tessa Blanchard was supposed to be in it, but Tessa Blanchard had to pull out because she's hurt. So this prompted all kinds of responses, as you can imagine. Will Ospreay here chimed in with one of the better ones. He says, "Really? Most of the women's wrestlers are pulling off more innovating and exciting stuff than ever before. Can't tell you the amount of times I go watch a Stardom match and want to retire because their matches are insane. Let's not interfere with progress, everyone. Keep killing it." Love that last line there. Will Ospreay in 2019, by the way, has gone from being like Seth Rollins level on Twitter to really good. Yeah. It's something else. But Tessa Blanchard actually got a promo on this before the match at this WrestleCade event. She called Sandman that same old ECW guy with a beer in his hand, and she showed like he has a lack of faith in the fans. Called it a complete pile of horse. The Jeff Goldblum thing from Tremors, is it? I can't remember. Good. That is one big pile of... and called the opinion a crock of... And then basically said, yeah, Sandman, you're out of your mind. You're stuck in the past. And you should probably stop hitting your face with a can because that hurts. And when you're an old man, you don't want to hurt because you're the Sandman. I feel like you were about to drop the mixtape in the air there. And it just didn't happen. I was waiting for you to bust into Bars for days, baby. I mean, look, I'm sure Mr. Sandman is a very nice man. I don't feel super surprised by this, I'll be totally honest. I'm sure a lot of people don't. One thing that was concerning for me, what I saw all the fallout from this, was obviously the amount of people who then jumped on Jordan Grace about this and were like, why couldn't you have handled this in private? Why did you have to make it public? I realise people's opinions are going to differ on this, but when Sandman is saying this in a locker room full of people, like verbally, so everybody in there can hear this, and I know people might want to keep this in-house and stuff, but why not call a man out like this? Because it's 2019. What kind of an attitude is that? I know, like that's the thing, man. Like, a woman literally headlined WrestleMania this year, and WrestleMania did a tremendous gig. It's like, you know, Sandman's what, in his 50s, maybe in his 60s. He's a product of his time. He comes from ECW, of course. Like, we can't expect him to be this, oh yeah, I love women's wrestling, I'm progressive, I'm this, I'm that. You can't really expect that from a guy from Sandman, but you know what he should do is keep his goddamn mouth shut. He should realise that he's a man out of time and not do stuff, especially with Jordan Grace, who like literally released a book of like gross DMs she'd received from like pervy fans and stuff. I don't know why you do it. It's the worst year, the worst year for it, because you've had so many examples. Just look at Tessa Blanchard in Impact, man. She's on the verge, potentially, could end up being the actual Impact champion. Like, completely superseding all the men in that division. That's gonna wrestle Solomon Crow, I believe. It's weird. Is that his name? Solomon? Yeah, Solomon. That guy, the guy with the iPad and that. Yeah, the guy Simon's gonna eat him. Yeah, he's gonna eat him up all right and chew him up and 5 foot warthog. Back out. 5 foot warthog. Well, there you have it. Let's roll into our Twitter questions for the day. Only got 2 today because Twitter is being an asshole and not saving the tweets I looked out. So apologies if I missed you out. But the first one comes from everyone's favorite misfit, legend of the channel, who asks, should WWE consider reducing house shows and lower tier pay-per-views and replacing them with takeover shows? Interesting. Okay. My answer is no. Only because I think the amount of takeovers at the moment makes them feel special. In times when they turn up, you don't want oversaturation, as WWE have done with all their other pay-per-views. Everything else.
I would though just like to see less house shows and stuff in general, just to give the guys a rest, man. Like, because as we might see in the future, assuming they keep the same model, AEW guys are going to go balls to the wall for their matches on the pay-per-view because they're going to get time to rest and they're going to have a chance to have a break. With these the house show schedules that they have to run, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely crazy.
It's murder. They should definitely consider reducing the house show schedule. I think like it's a failing business. Like that attendances are down, revenues are down. It's not working out. Houses are smaller and smaller every single year, and yeah, it puts an immense strain. That's why you have like when people say WWE's the safest company. Well, they have the largest injury list because they have the most amount of shows. It's a grind. It wears people down. It's murder. With regards to takeover shows, yes, I completely agree. I think 4 or 5 years perfect.
Yeah.
I think they should feel spaced out and special and so forth. And you have 2 hours of TV, you can blow a match.
And you want the build to it to feel good as well, not just put together. Like Survivor Series was great, it was a mad laugh, but at the end of the day, you know what's coming.
Yeah.
And they're going to build a story where it's brand warfare. So it's like, you know, I like to see less of that and more just in small doses for me.
Totally agree. Our second and final question comes from #Fire Jason Garrett. I have no idea who Jason Garrett is.
Oh no, he's not Jason. Fire Jason.
Hello. One of these NFL hand egg, San Francisco
hand egg
ferrets.
Guy. Yeah, I like this. I like this gimmick you've developed.
Gimmick?
Just shooting on.
I just love the Seattle Salmon.
Funnily enough, I just can't get away with NFL. I've tried. And
Baltimore Bastards.
Yep,
that's another good one.
Yep, the boss.
Another good one.
Good.
Bubba, his actual tag is, asks, what should be the plan for John Morrison? At this point, would it be best to wait until the Royal Rumble for him to debut? What do we reckon of that?
I think that sounds like a probable destination for John Morrison because, let's be honest, there's no rush. For starters, he's probably itching to get started, but I don't want him just dropped in there for the sake of dropping in there. He'll get a good pop at the Royal Rumble if they can bother to wait for it. My light on my phone has just come on and nearly blinded me there. That's good.
Should we just mess them up, mate? Should we just put our lights on?
Just mess them up.
Yeah.
Just start weird people. This is like Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
All rubbish.
Diet
Anyway,
Bray Wyatt.
John Morrison. Yes, bring him back to the Royal Rumble for me. I don't really know where else would be a better launching pad for him. And people are going to pop for him, I think.
Yeah, you get a good pop. I think it makes sense. I think it'd be a cool moment. They don't exactly have a long list of like returns they can do these days because they've done so many. But Morrison's been going a long time. I think that'd be cool. I think it's a good idea. Yes.
I like your energy. Committed to the cause.
Are we going to wrap
this up before me and you fall asleep
today?
again.
And the ad finally today is there is no one. You can find your own, you lazy piece of turnip.
This guy.
You can follow us on Twitter, however, if you'll withstand that, at WhatCulture WWE. Please send us all your Twitter questions. #ThisIsTheNews. #GoodAfterNews. We might be back today if there's anything popping off in the afternoon, but we might not be because I think we're the only people in the wrestling team in the office today.
Might be, yeah.
So we're going to be a bit busy. But anyway, thank you very much for joining us. You can follow Adam Nicholas at
It's Adam Nicholas. You can follow this lovely man, Andy Murray, at.
You can follow me at Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Hullabaloo.
Good.
The bear.
Yes, it does.
Jungle
To
Boo.
clarify.
Bye.
Goodbye.